Bezrat Hashem, let's see some halachot regarding the 9 days. We call the 9 days of between Rosh Chodesh and Tisha B'Av, the fast itself. Okay, as you know, the fast, the period is called Ben HaMetzarim. The Ben HaMetzarim period is between Yud Zayin B'Tammuz and Tisha B'Av. The reason for that is because on those 3 weeks, always unfortunate event happened to Am Yisrael. Yud Zayin B'Tammuz, the city of Jerusalem was sieged 2 times. Tisha B'Av, the city of Jerusalem was destroyed 2 times, right? So if those dates repeated, right, are repeated, and you have to imagine between the siege and the destruction, right, a lot of events happened, a lot of Jews were killed, a lot of died out of hunger. There's so many things that happen, right? So that's called Ben HaMetzarim, right? That's the three weeks of Ben HaMetzarim. But in Chachamim, they decreed certain decrees to remember those events, those unfortunate events, and they divided it into a few sections. So the big section is called the 3 weeks. That's the big section. Okay? The subsection goes from Yud Zayin B'Tammuz, which starts with a Ta'anit, with a fast, right? It's going to Rosh Chodesh Av. That's the first section. So basically, on Yud Zayin B'Tammuz to Rosh Chodesh Av, you can still buy new clothes without wearing them if they're on liquidation or sale, something special, right? You can still travel a little bit if you have to vacations. What? You can't wear them, right? And if really there's a need, you would wear them on Shabbat.
Okay.
To say Shechianu if you need, right? If there's new fruits on the market, right, and you're scared they're not going to exist after the period of the 3 weeks, you can eat them on Shabbat. So that's the lighter part. That's the lighter part of the time of the section. Then you're coming to Rosh Chodesh. Rosh Chodesh already there's restrictions. In the Ashkenaz community, the restrictions are much greater than in the Sephardi community. A lot of Ashkenazim do not take showers starting the whole 9 days. Okay? For Sephardim and Ashkenazim, right, start the period when we don't eat meat anymore. We stop eating meat for 9 days. So basically, from Rosh Chodesh till the end of the Ta'anit, till the next day at night for Sephardim. There's a difference between Sephardim and Ashkenazim. For Sephardim, you start eating meat again on Yud, on the 10th at night. Why? Because don't forget, the temple burned 2 days. Just Chachamim, when they decreed the Tzom, Tisha B'Av, they could not make a fast of 2 days. Kippur is not 2 days. Even the Torah doesn't make a fast of 2 days. People cannot stand 2 days, right? So Chachamim said, let's go by the beginning, right? But let's keep something for the next day. So the only thing was kept is not to eat meat till the next day at night, according to the Shulchan Aruch. The Ramah, Ashkenaz, he says no. The next day, by midday, around 1 o'clock, then after 1 o'clock, you're allowed to eat meat already. That's the difference for Sephardim and Ashkenazim. But the Ashkenazim, like I said, they're more strict about taking showers. The Ashkenazim would not wear Shabbat clothes on Shabbat Chazon, which we're going to speak soon, right? So there's different restrictions. But Rosh Chodesh, we stop eating meat. Now, Rosh Chodesh itself, Rosh Chodesh Av, is a very special Rosh Chodesh. You know, if somebody fasts on Shabbat, what's the halakha? He has to fast Sunday. Never you're allowed to fast on Shabbat. Because you fasted on Shabbat, the joyous day, you have to make it up by fasting on Sunday. Okay? If somebody is same halakha for Rosh Chodesh, if somebody fasts on Rosh Chodesh, he has to fast the next day for fasting on Rosh Chodesh. The only Rosh Chodesh out of 12, which you're allowed to fast is Rosh Chodesh Av. And why is that? Because Rosh Chodesh Av, right, is the day of the passing away of Aaron HaKohen. Ohev Shalom v'rodef Shalom, Ohev Taberiot u'mkavan HaTorah. Aaron HaKohen passed on Tisha B'Av, on Rosh Chodesh Av. Because of that, they say tzaddikim, big tzaddikim, they fast on Rosh Chodesh Av. But for the rest of the nation, the rest of the people, Rosh Chodesh Av is still Rosh Chodesh, is a happy day, right? Therefore, for Sephardim, we still eat meat on Rosh Chodesh. On Rosh Chodesh itself, you're still allowed to eat meat. Just you have to stop eating meat 2 hours before sunset on Rosh Chodesh, right? So the night of Rosh Chodesh, you're allowed to eat meat, right? The day of Rosh Chodesh, you're allowed to eat meat by lunchtime if you want, and even supper time, early supper time, around 6 o'clock, but already 7, 1 hour, 2 hours before the night, you stop eating meat. And that's for the 9 days, besides the Shabbat. On Shabbat Chazon that we call, you're allowed to eat meat, and it's a mitzvah to eat meat. Okay? And again, there's different customs. But this is the second period. The third period is called Shavua Shechal Bo Tisha B'Av, the week of Tisha B'Av. The week of Tisha B'Av starts with the Saturday night, Motzei Shabbat, up to the Ta'anit. So how many days it is? Sometimes, like, there's a year when Tisha B'Av is on a Thursday, so it's going to be 5 days. But years when sometimes Tisha B'Av is on a Shabbat and pushed to a Sunday, or on Sunday, there's no Shavua Shechalot Tisha B'Av because there's no week, right? There's no week. If it falls on a Tuesday, it's going to be 3 days, right? There, the laws are more strict. You cannot take showers, even for Sfaradim. You're allowed to go to the ocean to dip, just to dip, right? As a general rule, we try not to go from Rosh Chodesh, we try not to approach the ocean. It's very dangerous. And a lot of things happen during this time, okay? So you're allowed to go to the ocean, you're allowed to go to a pool, just to dip, to refresh yourself. You're allowed to take a cold shower during Shavua Shechal Bo Tisha B'Av, cold water, right? If you sweat and everything, cold shower, okay? You are not allowed to change your clothes. So basically the clothes that you're going to wear on Sunday, right? This is what you're going to wear till the Ta'anit. So if it's 5 days, you're wearing the same clothes for 5 days. You're allowed to change your undershirt if you sweat a lot, undergarments, and socks. That's the only thing you're allowed to change. But shirts, right, you are allowed to wear only a shirt that was already worn for at least half an hour. So basically you have to prepare the week before, right? A few shirts if you want to change them, right? If not, you're going to have to wear the same shirt, right? Now, if you forgot to do so, Avadia says you can take a shirt and just a clean shirt and drop it on the floor, right? And leave it there for half an hour. The floor is dirty. So already the shirt is not as fresh. It doesn't have the same feeling as a fresh shirt, right? So you're not allowed to wear an iron shirt either from the cleaners or yourself, right? This is the strictness, right? Why is it so strict? To remind us that in Jerusalem, they didn't take a shower for 3 years. They didn't eat for 3 years. There was no food. All the reserves of the food were burned by gangsters, right? We're going to speak about it more, Tisha B'Av. So basically people were eating, unfortunately, rats, cats. Who eats rats and cats? Who eat those things, right? And at the end, like the Torah says, you're going to go down to the point to eat your own kids. Something unimaginable, right? So we're asking, the Chachamim said, what are we asking from you? We're asking for you a few days. Sometimes certain things you're not going to have even that. But when it's a long one, like a Thursday, Tisha B'Av is on a Thursday, yes, you're going to not be comfortable for 5 days. It's really not comfortable not to take showers, not to change fresh clothes, But yeah, think about them. Just, think what they had to go through at that time, right? And for sure not to eat meat, right, on those days, on the Shavua Shechal Bo. Starting Rosh Chodesh, we don't take haircuts anymore. If somebody has really, for some reason, for his business or whatever it is, but he better consult with a rabbi. If he must shave, starting Shavua Shechal Bo Tisha B'Av, you cannot shave. Right? That's because Shavua Shechal Bo Tisha B'Av is the most strict in the whole period of the 3 weeks between Yud Zayin B'Tammuz till Rosh Chodesh. So I want to show you a Gemara. Interesting Gemara. Look at that. After the Gemara says, that's the Gemara in Baba Batra, page 60b. Right? The Gemara is speaking about what should you do in your house to remember the destruction of the temple. So they say what you should do is when you paint your house, in the living room, leave a small piece, right? Like a foot by a foot, right? Unpainted. So every time you sit down to eat, and you have a good meal, Shabbat meal, and beautiful table, good wine, good meat, right? When you look, people are bothered when they see something not, right? Oh, but 1 second, this is for the destruction of the temple. Just to remind yourself. Okay? The Gemara says, Lo yasud et beto basid. And then the Gemara says, when the temple was destroyed, Rabu Perushim Israel. There started to be groups in Am Israel. And one of the groups are called Perushim. Perushim means the ones, right? They separated themselves from the pleasures of the world. Why? Because they said God's house is destroyed. We are not going to enjoy this world till God gets back his house. His house is Bet HaMikdash. If God doesn't have a house, we're not supposed to enjoy this world. Now, the problem didn't stop there. It was good, okay? But the problem is they started to force their ideas on the Jewish people, on their brothers, right? And not everybody were able to stand their point of strictness, what they started to apply. So, they said, no more meat, right? And no more wine till the Bet HaMikdash is built. Okay, in the first temple, that meant 70 years. But in the second temple, we're still in exile.
Yeah.
So imagine it's 1950 and few years.
Right.
It means you wouldn't touch meat. Everybody would be in the Jewish people vegetarians. So the people felt really like choked, but they couldn't do anything because they were very powerful, not strength, but they were big rabbis, and people were embarrassed. They had kavod. Gets up one rabbi called Rabbi Yeshua, and Rabbi Yeshua tells the people, let me go and fix this situation. I'm going to take care of this situation. He goes over to them, and he tells them, Kvod HaRabbanim, I heard you said you're not supposed to eat meat anymore and drink wine. I respect that, but could you explain me why? He says, what do you mean why? God's house is destroyed. His table is destroyed. What's the God's table? The altar, the Mizbeach. Mm-hmm. What goes on the Mizbeach? Not cream cheese, not what goes on the purely meat. So if God's table cannot have meat, we cannot serve meat on our tables. So that's why we decided no more meat till the Bet HaMikdash is built. Oh, wow, I didn't think about it. That's a very good explanation. I respect that. And the wine? What do you mean wine? Every time you bring a sacrifice, when you burn it on the altar with the fire, you pour wine. You have to bring libations of wine. So there's no more wine. God's table is missing wine. So we cannot have wine. Oh, says Rabbi Yeshua, wow, I didn't think about this. You know what? I really respect that. But going with your way of thinking, you know what? So therefore, we should not eat bread anymore. Oh yeah? Why? Don't forget, there's no 12 breads. And also, don't forget, on Shavuot, the sacrifice is to be 2 breads. And on Omer, the sacrifice is to be a bread made out of barley. So if God's table doesn't have bread, we cannot sacrifice the bread anymore, so we shouldn't eat bread. Oh, great. We thank you to come and join us. We didn't even think about it. Wow, we got ourselves a new member over here. Powerful. We're going to say that over. Say, wait, I didn't finish. Says what? We should stop eating fruits. Why? Bikurim. They used to have bikurim. They used to bring it to the Kohen, Bet HaMikdash. God's table is lacking fruits. Shivat Aminim, dates. No, we should not have fruits anymore. Wow, you're amazing. You're one of a kind. We didn't think about you so long. Where'd you come from? Great, we're going to annex it to our decrees, right? Wait, I didn't finish it. We should stop drinking water. Because during 7 days of Sukkot, there was libations of water, right? Nisuch hamayim. Oh, don't exaggerate. Come on. No, no water, no this, no fruits, no bread, no wine, no this. This is Rabotai. This thing has no end. You have to be reasonable. You want to decree, you want to make a decree, you have to be something reasonable for the people. Not everybody can do that. He says, okay, what do you suggest? I suggest just on the meal of that starts the fast of Tisha B'Av, this is the only meal that we cannot eat meat and not drink wine. And they accepted it. Then with generations after, they extended it. So it went to Shavua Shechal Bo Tisha B'Av, and it went up to Rosh Chodesh Av. But this is the original takana. The original takana instauration was on Tisha, the night of Tisha B'Av when we start the fast, right? So to tell you, he was teaching them something. Listen, we all sorry what happened, and we all try to remember that, right? But we should respect also the rest of the people which cannot stand it. I want to finish off with something that I heard from the Yanuka. You probably heard about Yanuka, right? Which had right. So the Yanuka,
He's young, no?
yeah,
34.
35, 30, but he's a big Talmid Chacham. Something. It's a gift of God in our generation, the Yanuka. So the Yanuka said, if you feel like your mazal is blocked and you're trying to do certain things and you don't succeed, and you need shidduch, and you need parnasa, and you need refuah, and you need that, he says you can do one small thing. Take yourself a small stone, rock, small, put it under your pillow. Put it under your pillow. And every night before you go to bed, think about God's house, which is destroyed. So this little rock is going to remind you that Hashem's house is destroyed. He says, if you do that, you open your mazal.
Yeah.
He says, this is segula for parnasa, refuah, everything. Just put a small rock under your pillow and just going before to sleep. A small thought about God's house and God, and saying, God, I really hope your house is going to rebuild very fast, right? So you don't have to wait to Tisha B'Av, not to eat meat and not to drink wine and not to change your clothes. You can do it every day. And that's why we have the tefillah called Tikkun Hatzot, right? Which tzaddikim are crying, right? But just putting this small rock.
3 weeks only?
No, the whole year.
Always.
The whole year. Yeah, small rock. You wash it, you clean it, you put it under your pillow. Just before I'm going to sleep, you pick up. Oh, Hashem, I remember.
A small
Thank
one,
you.
don't put a big one.
No, Shabbat you don't. Shabbat you just sleep on top of it, but you don't think. Baruch Adonai le'olam. Amen ve'amen.